I am live. What's going on, guys? Welcome. Happy to be here with you. Let me go ahead and get my setup going on. Happy Tuesday. Okay, we're doing this. Hope everybody's enjoying their Christmas. I'm already in Christmas, guys. I'm already in Christmas. I've already skipped Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving's next week. Think we're good on Instagram. Perfect. But I'm ready. I'm ready for Christmas. I'm feeling it. I got the Christmas music on, so I'm excited to be in the holiday time. 2025, it's a wrap. 2025, it's a wrap. Let's go. All right. We're out here celebrating Christmas, being thankful for everyone. Thank you for everybody joining me live. I appreciate that so much. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Carolyn Castillo, and I am a probate real estate specialist here in the state of Florida. I've had the privilege of serving. I think we just counted it up. I was on an interview and we are like, no, how many actually have you done? And I think I'm up to like 175 probate real estate transactions, guys. So I have worked with a lot of families with inherited properties. And I really love it so much. I get more in love with this business the more that I do it. And God has blessed me with this business and the opportunity to share it with other realtors. Probate is happening, guys, all around the country. In fact, it's happening around the globe. Okay. So this is happening in Mexico. This is happening in Peru. This is happening in Italy, right? And so the more real estate professionals that we can get the message out to, that can get into this business. I've had a very rewarding career. The last 4 or 5 years, I've completely niched down just in helping families through inherited properties. So it's been an incredible experience. I love it. It is challenging. And today we are going to be discussing some of the very challenging sides of probate real estate. Okay. But if anybody is on my Instagram, you'll see something that I posted in my stories, and it says, solve big problems, get big money, right? So the bigger problems we solve, the more opportunity it is for us to earn money, to have a fulfilling career. You're solving a big problem for a family, but then you're also getting rewarded, you're getting compensated for solving that problem. So today we're going to be talking about what are some of the problems that will come up in probate real estate that may entice you to kind of pump your brakes a little bit, slow down. Maybe we're not signing the listing agreement right now because there's some situations about it, right? While I have your guys' attention, I actually posted a video yesterday or this week on my YouTube channel about how to talk to probate attorneys, right? And this guy commented, and he had actually linked someone else's video, and he was like, I just saw this video about probate, and it made me think about you, and I was just hearing about what you said, and so I would love for you guys to go watch it. I don't necessarily want to put the guy totally on blast, but basically he's marketing to investors, right? So he's specializes in probate is guess as well, right? And he markets to investors. So his video that he makes on YouTube, he basically is saying, he writes it there and he says it in like the first 10 seconds. He says, I'm going to show you how to steal houses from dead people and how to make a lot of money and how to do all this and that. And I wrote back to the guy on the comment and I was like, this is exactly why I do what I do and why I'm so passionate about it and why I want to get more realtors to come join me and be a part of this movement because right now, the only people, I know, thank you so much. That's crazy to say that. Literally, please go on my YouTube channel and look at the last video I posted, and you're gonna see the guy in the comment, and he posted the video. I was like, I should do a reaction to this video, but I was like, maybe you shouldn't, Carolyn. But it was like, when you go into the investor world, that is how they talk about probate. You know, they talk about it like how to make the best deals, get the most money, you know, taking advantage of someone's misfortune, right? So the whole reason that Absolute Top Dollar exists, you know, the reason that I'm passionate about it is because I believe that these people need help. I'm a real estate professional. I can help you sell the house. I can help you maximize the value. I can help you overcome these problems. The family wins. I win. We all win, you know, and that's why I'm here. That's why I show up. That's why I'm looking for realtors to partner with, because this can be a very fulfilling career for real estate professionals. And not to say that people haven't been passing away since the beginning of time. Obviously, that's our destiny. But at the same time, right now is about to be the great wealth transfer. So, literally, the baby boomers are holding a significant, almost 50% value in real estate. And so, all of that is transferring right now in the next 10 to 20 years. We're going to be experiencing this rush of inheritance, this rush of people that are going to be passing away and their families are going to be inheriting the houses. So we need more real estate professionals like me, like you, to rise up to the call. So it's not these crazy investors that are, I'm telling you guys, I'm not making this up. The guy said how to steal houses from dead people. Like, how do you even say that? You know, like how, like, did your mom not teach you any manners? Come on, guys. So that's why I'm here today. So I invite you, if you're interested in getting into probate real estate, you want to dominate probate real estate in your market, in your city, book a call with me. I'd love to schedule an appointment with you. We can talk about how I can show you how to just do a business in a box. I've already worked out all the kinks, guys. That's the good news. Okay. So you can just walk on the red carpet from my tried and true experience. So thank you for joining me today. Please, if you have any questions about probate, it doesn't have to be what we're talking about today, but if you have any general questions, drop them in the chat. I'm live on Instagram, I'm live on YouTube, and I'd be happy to answer some questions for you guys while I'm here live, okay? So I'll go ahead and jump in. Today, we're going to be going over what are some of the situations that maybe we should, steer clear from, or what are some listings that we may have opportunities to take in probate, but maybe we shouldn't. Okay, maybe we should take a few steps back, do a little bit more research, do a little bit more digging. Okay, so we're going to go over three kind of subject matters of where problems can arise. And that's going to be with beneficiaries. Okay, so as most of you would probably know by now, that when you're dealing with probate, it's not just, husband and wife seller or one seller. My biggest case to this date is 23 executors, but I've had multiple cases where there's been, 15, 5, 7, 4, 3, right? And when you're talking about executors, these people are, maybe they're not close, maybe they haven't talked in a long time, maybe they're actually stepchildren, right? Like they didn't really grow up in the same home type of thing. They may be estranged from each other. There's a lot of dynamics with that, right? Then we're going to talk about what are maybe some financial problems that can arise in probate that can kind of, excuse my French, but lead you up Shit's Creek in probate, okay, when you're going to sell the house. And then we're going to talk about, believe it or not, attorney problems, okay? So let's go ahead and dive in. Really, the big thing with the beneficiaries is when you do speak with an executor and when you have an executor on the phone with you, if you're following my protocol, we're typically cold calling these people, right? We're talking to them, we're reaching out to them directly. And when you do get them on the phone with you, one of the first questions you always want to ask is how many beneficiaries are in the estate, right? That's a pretty basic question. Who all is involved here, right? Well, when you ask that question, the follow-up question is going to be, is everybody present, right? Is everybody around? Okay. So you can have someone that passes away and, you have two brothers and sisters, but no one has seen their brother since like 1969, right? Like he peeled out of town and nobody has seen him. Well, I'm here to tell you, nobody's going to be able to move forward because brother does need to be present to consent to the estate, to sign at the closing, to do all the things. So if you meet an executor and they tell you, yeah, well, my mom had another son, but, we haven't seen him in over 30 years. And, my mom wanted me and my sister to have the house. And we've decided we want to sell. So we want to go ahead and move forward. So you may think, oh, girl, I'll get the listing. Let me go ahead and sign here. You want to sell the house? Boom, bam, bing. Until you get to title, and title tells you, well, where's this other person? Right? You're not going to be selling that house. Okay. So making sure that, who is all in the estate, and is everyone present? Is everybody around? Right? Is everybody available? Like I have done some where family members have been like, maybe like they're around, but they're not really the most reliable people, maybe they don't live stable lives. You could have it where maybe somebody's on drugs or someone's mentally ill, right? Stuff like that. So, this is where you want to really identify because you're going to need that person to be able to do the closing, right? So, especially in Florida, they're very, very strict on this. All the inheriting parties have to sign at closing. Okay. So if it's, you're selling the homestead property, which is the property that the decedent lived in, which is their primary residence, there's ways around it when it's a second home or like a investment property. But if it's the primary residence, which 9 times out of 10, that's what we're dealing with, um, all the beneficiaries have to sign. Okay. So we want to see if, they're not around, if, because the executor may tell you, oh yeah, it's fine. Like I've had so many executors tell me that, oh yeah, it's my brother, but he's been gone for like 40 years and my mom didn't want him to have anything. So we're good. We're going to sell the house. It's like, you ain't gonna sell the house. Okay. So you could prevent yourself from kind of getting involved in that. Now, could you work with them to start mitigating and figuring out the solution to that problem? Yes, you can. But you just don't want to run to the races, put the house on the market, and all those things. Okay. Another one under beneficiaries is everyone in full agreement to sell? Okay. Now, when you're working on an estate, you don't necessarily need all the beneficiaries to sign the listing agreement. The executor, the personal representative, they're going to have the authorization to be able to give you the go ahead to sell the house. But if a sister doesn't want to sell, right, then you need to address that, right? You need to work on that. Now, these are all problems that do have solutions, okay? But these are things that when you're taking a listing, you want to be able to really identify what's going on with it before you actually move forward with putting it on the market and starting the whole song and dance, okay? Um, no access to the property, kind of a basic one, but you do run across it, right? So there may be a tenant living in the property. There may be, I've had caretakers that were living with the decedent, taking care of them. And then when the person passed away, the caretaker locks and keys the house, right? So, do you have access to the house? Can we get in the house? There's plenty of times where families have mailed me the keys and they've never even went over to the house and I go over there. That's different, right? You have access. But if there's somebody living in the home and they're not participating, whether they're a beneficiary, maybe they're not a beneficiary, whatever the case is, that you may want to take a breath, figure out how we're going to resolve this, right? Um, I put here someone living in the property, right? So in those, it depends if they're a beneficiary of the estate or they're not a beneficiary of the estate. The motivations are different, right? And so we do have solutions for that of being able to work with them civilly and helping them to understand what their legal options are and how we can move it forward. But that's definitely something that with somebody living in there, you may want to have to take a couple steps back, see how we're going to resolve that issue, right? Another one that we would go over is the financial problems, okay? And in probate, people don't know what they're inheriting. Okay. So, as much as you think you know grandma and you think you knew everything she did, you may not know that grandma took out a reverse mortgage or grandma did a lien on the house to get her windows done and her roof done, right? You may end up coming to find out that she hasn't paid her taxes, right? Um, what's been happening in 2025 for me, which never really happened since I've been doing probates, because basically 4 years ago we've been on, the real estate rainbow riding to the top, right? So people were just making more and more money off of their real estate, but now the values in Florida have been going down, down, down. And so, I've had it a couple times this year where actually the mortgage balance and what they owed, the market went down and they barely could sell the property because it couldn't even pay off all the debts, right? So this is something that you definitely want to keep an eye on, especially when we're in a declining market or we're in a market where, and it's so funny about our market because it's not happening in every single neighborhood. But if you're seeing that last summer, the houses were selling for this, and now the last 3 months, the houses are selling for this, you're definitely going to want to take caution in taking that case on, right? A lot of times people don't realize, hey, there was an assessment in this community and the decedent hasn't paid anything towards that assessment, right? So they're behind. When you do the estoppel and you get to closing, they're going to say, hey, you got to pay $10,000, right? That the family may not be aware of, right? So really understanding what the value of the property is and not like, with your realtor, I'm going to be the highest sale in the neighborhood, being more realistic, being, because we're in a little bit of a different market, really having more of a conservative listing value and then going ahead and adding up all the debts that they have. One of the little pro tip that I do is I like to pull all my title work first because even when you ask the family, like sometimes the family can give you like the most recent mortgage statement, they can give you what the HOA balance is and things like that. But sometimes these estates, they don't even know, so it's a pro tip to just go ahead and pull all that, pull the lien report, pull the permit search, pull the payoff on the mortgages, because the last thing you guys want to do, and I've had some close calls this year, guys, very close, and I think we had one or two that we had to just completely cancel because the value in the neighborhood had come down further than what the family owed on the property, right? So there was no way to do it, that we would have had to do a short sale. But in that family's case, they ended up deciding to keep it and yada yada. But these are things that you don't want to get yourself involved in, and then you end up, down the road that you can't even get paid on the deal, right? There's not even enough money to get paid on the deal. Okay. What else did I write down here? Estate debts, total loss. So like I've actually worked on a few where the family, the house burned down, right? And there's an insurance policy on the house, Those you need to be a little bit more cautious with on how to maneuver them. All of these things can be done, right? All of these have solutions. And when you solve these bigger problems, guys, like we talked about at the beginning of the call, guess what that means? You're able to charge more for your services, obviously, because you're doing more work than just putting a sign in front of the yard and selling a property, right? You're helping the family, uncover these things, create the solutions, create the opportunities for them to even be able to move forward, right? And that's why investors prey on these people, right? Because they have these problems, they have these situations, right? So, like we were talking, the investors say, oh, you're going to get the best deal because these people are with their backs against the wall, but that's what I enjoy doing, helping them solve that problem. I'm able to charge a good amount for my services rendered, and then the family's able to sell the house and close the estate and move forward, right? The last thing people want is to, when their loved one passes away, then just like, oh, the house goes into foreclosure, they lose everything, like that's what people don't want. That's their loved one's legacy, right? And then they feel bad about it because they weren't able to settle the estate in a in a good way, right? So you're helping people out there. Now, the third category is attorney problems, okay? And a lot of people may think like, what? Attorney problems? How could that happen? This was one of the big shockers when I first got into probate. I just had such a high esteem for attorneys, but there's a lot of attorneys out there, and I guess it could be true for any business, right? Even for realtors, there's the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? But the things that I've seen from attorneys is out of control, like just straight up no response. So, like when you're first talking with the executor and talking with the family about the estate, you want to ask them, like, how's it going with the attorney? How's the communication? Sometimes you'll hear the executor say, like, I'm really frustrated with the attorney. Like, I have not heard one peep from him since we left his office. Like, I've sent him emails. I haven't gotten any follow up. I don't even know what is going on with the case. Okay. So you may hear that. Now, for us, that's a problem because you cannot sell the house until the house goes through probate and you get your court order to sell, right? So if you've got an attorney that is on the job and he's not doing his job, guess what? We're not going to be able to do our job. So if you go and rush and put that house up for sale, and then you get to, okay, we're ready to sell, we've got the buyer, we've got everything, but then the attorney, you assume, right, that the attorney is doing the right thing, but then you find out that he's asleep at the wheel. I've had this was a crazy one that I had an attorney. We were having to kind of like, push him forward. And then he took the court documents that he was supposed to file with the court, he took it to the title company. And the title company calls me and she's like, I don't think this attorney is well because he brought me what he was supposed to file in the court records, he brought it to the title company. So clearly there was like some senile issues going on or just like confusion on his part. So how are you going to sell the house if you don't have the professional attorney working on the job with you, right? So these are things that you're going to want to, be looking out for. If they give you a response like that, like we're not getting anywhere, we haven't had, any, response from him. Orders getting denied by the judge, right? So if they say like, yeah, we haven't gotten our letters of administration yet, the order keeps getting denied. Probate is not difficult, guys. Like actually, probate is not difficult. It's a matter of like documenting everything, gathering information, completing paperwork. So if there's any type of errors in the paperwork or errors in the way that I had a case one time that got held up for closing. Almost 3 weeks we were held up from closing. The attorney kept telling us, we're just waiting for the judge to sign. We're just waiting for the judge to sign. Come to find out, we finally got on the judge's assistant to get on the phone with us. And she's like, oh, we rejected that order as soon as we got it because it wasn't filled out correctly. So literally, we were waiting and we were waiting because the order had gotten rejected just because he didn't fill the order out correctly, right? So these are things that executors, they don't understand. They've never been in probate, so they're over there like, we're just waiting, we haven't heard anything from the attorney, So you have to have the attorney on board in order for you to be able to go ahead and sell the property, right? So these are just, some things that, came top of mind for me as far as like beneficiary problems, financial problems, and attorney problems that you can be excited, right? When you're a new realtor or a new probate realtor, you're like, oh, you want to sell the house? Okay, great, let's go. And you go to put the sign in the yard, and then all of a sudden, oh no, we're missing this heir. Oh no, the estate owes more money than I thought of. Oh no, the attorney's not filing the paper right. These are things that you're going to want to be on the up and up, looking for, talking about, asking about. All of them have solutions, guys. Okay. All of them can be worked out. But you've got to be in the game and you've got to be willing to hear the problems and then find the solutions. Okay. So if you want to know the solutions, okay, come to my training program, okay? I'll give you all the solutions. And guys, I learned all of this by doing deals, deal by deal, deal by deal, deal by deal. And I think that's the best experience, by actually getting the experience of doing the deals. So when I work with agents all across the country, I'm physically in Florida, but I work with agents everywhere, right? And we basically, in my program, teach you how to reach out to these executors, how to cold call them. Literally, from today, you get a list, you're going to cold call them tomorrow. You're sitting at their house the next day and you're taking a listing. So I have multiple people in my group that have gotten listings in their first 30 days of working in my program because I've already got it all laid out for everyone, right? And when these problems arise or when these situations arise, I'm there to mentor you and guide you through it, give you some tips on how to maneuver it, how to figure out the solutions for the families, so that we can make this, bring the light to this industry, guys. Okay. The death business has always been something in the shadows. It's always been something families don't talk about. And it's a space in business where certain people, again, I'd love for you to go watch the video. Okay. I'm going to give this guy a bunch of views, but it's a great example of what I'm fighting against. And you'll find that out when you start cold calling and you start reaching out to families. The only people that your potential competition is real estate investors. And when you hear their heart behind it, now I know not everybody's like this. Not every real estate investor is just like that. I know that for a fact, okay? But majority, this is where they prey on probate. So for more real estate professionals like you and me can rise up to the call, can bring light to the industry, can bring solutions to families' problems, help them maximize their estate. The family wins, you win, and we have successful careers and we make a sad situation a good one. Okay, guys? So thank you so much. If you're interested, hit me up. My link is in the bio. Schedule a call with me. I'm looking to partner with agents all over the country to dominate and probate real estate and make the world a better place, guys. Okay? So love you. Thank you so much for watching me live. And I'll see you next Tuesday. Okay? Any questions? I'm here for you guys. All right? Send me a DM. I'm ready to partner with you and help you win in probate. All right? Talk to you guys later. Bye.